from the Los Angeles suburb of Hawthorne about what he claimed was a rising level of police harassment against blacks in Southern California. He offered to show us just how bad it was, and 2 nights ago in the city of Long Beach, our cameras followed him to record for ourselves what might happen and to find out just what kind of man would seek out his own arrest. First, a warning, the language can be explicit. All his life, Don Jackson wanted to be a policeman, just like his dad.
He was a policeman with Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for 28 years. I grew up, he'd take me out in his patrol car, and we'd talk, and I always see him in uniform, and I was very proud of him.
After graduating from college, Jackson followed in his father's footsteps, but even as he rose through the ranks, he became disenchanted with what he called the informal racism in local police departments.
I learned that there's 2 levels of treatment that are administered on the street, and it's a 2-tier system for whites and blacks.
When his father was stopped and beaten by police while off duty several years ago, Jackson brought his private frustrations out in the open. He became an activist against police harassment.
The same departments that don't want blacks working there will abuse blacks when they run into them on the street. The same ignorance prevails at both levels, and I started to say, well, I can continue to fight the issue, which is with regard to police officers, black officers, not getting fair treatment. But I said to myself, how can I overlook the bigger picture, which is how do black people get treated on the streets?
So, last February, Jackson, dressed in a blue plaid shirt, decided to walk with 6 young blacks to the Westwood Village in Los Angeles to see how the L.A. police would respond.
We're not doing anything at all except standing. Hare Krishnas were on one corner, there were other whites and several other people of different persuasions on other corners.
Well, they were stopped, and he was arrested almost immediately. He won instant recognition for his self-described sting. 2 nights ago, Jackson and a friend decided to try it again, this time just the 2 of them in the Los Angeles suburb of Long Beach.
Over 94% of the complaints that had occurred in Long Beach by minority citizens, it was white officers on black citizens.
Jackson was confident that they would be stopped within an hour. It didn't take that long. Less than 2 minutes after entering Long Beach, white police officers pulled in behind the car, driven by Jackson's friend, Jeffrey Hill.
We didn't speed, we didn't weave, we didn't even slow down to where they could say we were driving too slow. We just drove at an even pace, 33 miles an hour, and didn't make a move.
At this point, a camera mounted in the rear window of Jackson's rented car picks up the action.
What's wrong, man? Look, come over here. Nah, man, what's the deal?
Hey, come over here.
For what?
Because I'm telling you to, that's why.
What are you talking about, man? You want to write a ticket, write a ticket. Don't mess with me, man.
Listen, I got the right to pat you down, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah?
I don't know if you got a knife or weapon on you.
You can pat me down, but don't mess with me,
turn around
man.
and put your hands on your head now.
Why?
Do it now, because I'm telling you to.
What are you going to do?
Put your hands on your head!
You going to hit me with that stick?
Yeah, I just might.
For what?
Put your hands on your head.
For what?
I don't know if you got a knife, you
I don't have a knife.
Put your hands on your head. Turn around!
Nothing, man, nothing. Nothing, man. I'm all right, okay? No problem.
Get the driver out.
Oh! Sorry, man, I'm sorry.
Fucking problem! Shut up!
What's the break the car off? Breaking my arm, man!
What's the deal? Last thing you fucking done. Quiet, aren't you?
Hey, man, you're hurting my back!
That's good.
According to Long Beach police officials, Jackson was arrested for disturbing the peace, challenging a fight, obstructing an officer, and using obscene words. They refused our request for an interview, but did say an investigation had begun. Joining us now from our newsroom in Burbank is Don Jackson. And good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm a little bit sore, but I'm okay.
How'd that plate glass window break? Was that your face?
Yes, the officer had both my hands behind my head. He took my face and shoved it through the window, and at that point then pulled me back out from under the window. I felt the glass shatter across the back of my neck, but I didn't know. It was happening so fast, I really didn't have time to keep an eye on everything that was going on.
When our tape picks up, we find you out of the car. Why did you get out of the car?
Well, I had agreed with the NBC people that were going to cover this, that the best thing for me to do would be to step away from the vehicle. As a passenger, I'm under no obligation to remain as part of the police investigation of the traffic violation. When the officers approach the vehicle, they have a right to question the driver, obtain his driver's license and any additional information they need for a citation, but they really don't have any grounds to contact me as a passenger unless I do something explicitly on my own. So merely standing away from the car is not in itself any violation of the law.
As a police officer, that wouldn't have made your adrenaline race a little bit, that the individual got out of the car, be he black or white?
No, because when you make a traffic stop, you learn to expect a variety of behaviors by people. Some people stay in the car, some people get out. I've had people roll the window up when I walk up to the car, so you really never know. And once I stood in a stationary position, I don't believe I posed any threat to the officer.
Don, what we saw was grounds for discussion, certainly of police brutality. What about racism? Are you certain that a white man would not have been treated like you were treated?
No, absolutely not. What we have, again, as I've mentioned earlier, is two levels of treatment for citizens with contact by the police. Black citizens are often asked to do a variety of things that are demeaning and dehumanizing. For example, with the gang sweeps in South Central LA, anybody who's black driving in a black neighborhood or a white neighborhood is subject to stop by the police and being ordered to do such things as lie on the ground, lay across a hot car hood for several minutes, being forced to stand in the middle of a busy intersection with your feet spread out and your hands behind your head, while the police officers basically strip you of your dignity. I have not yet seen anyone white in a non-felony situation laying out in the middle of the street in Los Angeles. And when that happens, then I might consider the system of treatment to be equal, but at this point, it's certainly not.
What did happen to the driver, by the way, before I let you go?
Well, nothing happened to the driver in this incident. He was actually cited for weaving, and as you can see in the tape, there wasn't any weaving. We drove straight as an arrow at 33 miles an hour and never changed our course. The police needed a reason to stop us, and that's the one that they created for